Welcome back to the 109th episode of PandTha Talks.
Hello.
We have, a very interesting week overall. There's no other way I can really describe it. We have quite a bit of news about Schedule 1, both good and bad.
You always find a way to make it bad, man. Come on.
It's just not that I found a way, it's that something's happened. But I'll explain that. After that, we have Nintendo Switch 2's price and specs release, which will be pretty interesting to go over.
I am intrigued. I didn't have much to do with the Switch myself, but obviously I got my partner one. I believe you got your partner one as well, no?
I didn't get her one, but she already had one. So.
Well, yeah, I am intrigued to see if it's going to be much change in it.
Yeah. After that, we'll be discussing how a certain major person in a company, I believe it's Wizards of the Coast, I could be incorrect, but says fan mods shouldn't be treated like commercial ventures that infringe on your property. Just hours before Wizards of the Coast retracts its Baldur's Gate 3 Stardew mod takedown. Ubisoft Leamington officially closes its doors after 23 years. Sad times. Then Embracer Group's Eidos-Montreal studio confirms more layoffs, which
that doesn't give me hopes for the new Deus Ex.
And then London is now the third biggest gaming hub for the games industry workers worldwide, which is some good news. You know, I'm pretty happy to hear that.
Where else, man? The UK is like tiny, so that's kind of crazy.
It is. And finally, industry veterans launch new indie publisher, The Collab. So we'll have a bit of a look into that as well. But let's be honest, where we all want to start and what everyone wants to talk about. Schedule 1. And we have put some time in since.
As I said to you before we started recording, just looking at those numbers alone, remembering again this is an indie game, which, to our knowledge from what we have looked into, we believe is only one developer.
Yeah.
These numbers are insane.
Yeah, they definitely are. One developer, one composer, and there was one other guy doing something else.
Graffiti artist,
that's the one. Those were the 3 people in total, if you want to be very specific.
Yeah, all the gameplay, all the game mechanics, all the design, all him. All one guy.
And I have nothing but respect for that, honestly.
Do we actually know how long this game was in development for? Because, as you said last week, it sort of just popped up out of nowhere.
I'm probably going to have to do this the way I did it the other day. Why can't I find it now? There it is. So this is their actual website. There is a fact sheet, so you can sort of have a look at some details.
Basically just looking for a date.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking for here. Yeah, that's the entire credits page.
Which is crazy.
I can't get my head around that, to be brutally honest with you. And no, there is no real date. There's the release date, and that's about it.
That's a shame.
Yeah, how long have TVGS been a thing? That's probably a better question. Founding.
Wait, he's Australian as well.
Yeah, he's Australian.
A little bit of information.
There's nothing really explaining that. I suppose we could go to the Australian page, but it'd be a lot of running around to find out very little.
Who knows? Maybe someday we can ask him.
That'd be nice. So it has since broken its record from last week. It is now at 414,166 all-time peak. It has 98.42% still. So I do believe that the review scores on Steam are a little bit bugged. But the game is getting phenomenal reviews from everyone I can see.
Yeah. I mean, even the reviews aside, the player count is enough.
Yeah. 110% it is. They're doing really well, and the game is clearly handling it well. I mean, I think this is the best way of looking at this.
Yeah.
Just, do as you wish with that information. But we have more details to discuss. So I'm going to start out first and foremost. Tyler has been posting on Twitter, and there is a bit of a spoiler for what's to come. In the comments here, but I'm not going to address that.
Literally this morning.
Yeah. Next update is almost ready to go. I'm hoping to release it on the beta branch tonight, 12 hours from now. and fully released Monday. The update includes a boutique store, a pawn shop, wall decorations, and some other fancy stuff. Stay tuned. If you actually go into here, you can see some sort of things from the wall mounted. I do
Nice.
actually kind of like this. It's a good little idea,
Extra
especially for the
storage, just
apartments.
great.
He's apparently contemplating as well streaming the development of Schedule 1, which I'm very intrigued by. He said as himself, like, I'm sure at least one person will find it interesting, and he's very correct. Some new decorations for apartments. At the end of the day, it has been sort of feeling a bit empty. It's nothing major, but it's something. Then his official Schedule 1 account. There are no official Schedule 1 cryptocurrencies. Any coins claiming to be associated with the game are fake and are most likely trying to scam you.
I mean, that's a standard thing these days
Yeah,
with any game.
that's
People
the
trying to scam you, saying that they're involved in the game in some sort of way.
Yeah. So, yeah, fair play to them. They're doing really well so far. I wanted to start out with the good and the positive. You may have seen it under the comment, but at the moment, there's some extra bits going on. So I'm going to move to this first. Months before Schedule 1 was Steam's top seller, its solo developer was worried he was kneecapping himself by not putting drug in the title, and he thinks it's a pretty poor name.
Really?
Apparently. Thanks to the benefit of hindsight, we know that Schedule 1 is a pretty cool name for a drug dealing simulator that's topped the Steam charts these last 2 weeks. It's evocative, memorable, and references its subject matter without affixing a played out simulator on the end. But 5 months ago, back when Schedule 1 was nothing more than a modestly popular demo, its developer was seriously worried that the name would sabotage its success. Am I kneecapping myself with my game's name? Tyler of TVGS asked r/GameDev in December 2024. I am a bit worried that the name Schedule 1 is a bit niche or vague, and may be limiting my audience, he wrote. Most other similar games have drug or narco in the title. I figured if I'm going to change the name, the earlier the better. It's a reasonable concern, as some well-meaning Redditors pointed out in the thread at the time. Schedule 1 is a difficult name to parse unless you already know the United States method for categorizing controlled substances. It's also an SEO nightmare. Yeah, that's where it came from, which is very interesting.
Surprisingly enough, I don't really follow much of anything that's American.
How shocking that. Yeah, you know. I mean, I'm pretty sure most people can guess where you're from your voice. And everyone knows I'm British, so.
Well, I get called Australian a lot, so you tell me.
People call you Australian.
I've been called Australian and American more than I've been called Irishman. A lot more. Oh yeah.
Do you remember that time I jumped into a lobby with you on VR chat and so many people kept walking up to me because I go into that like American style voice I've got? And for some fucking reason, these kids just keep running up to me going, "You're this person, you're this person." No, I'm fucking not. I can assure you I'm not. But no, they don't believe you.
Yep.
I am definitely famous person number 62. Searching up Schedule 1 just shows primarily government documents. User Wonderude1 noted. I presume that the intent is to play on those government/IRS documents, but I didn't know what it was until I looked it up. Some users said not to sweat the government association, though. When I do a search for Schedule 1 on Google, I get a list of toxic substances. When I search for Schedule 1 game, your game shows up as the first result. I don't really think it's it'll be that big of an issue. He's very correct. It hasn't been. And to be honest, I don't really have to go for the full thing, especially considering it's just a Reddit read, which annoys the hell out of me. But the game clearly does stand on its own. The name is unique to itself. It stands well. Just fair play to him. And I'm dreading this, because I know how sad everyone's going to be, but it's currently under investigation. Legal investigation at that.
That's unfortunate.
Guess who buy?
Oh, go on.
Drug Dealer Simulator.
Unfortunate.
Not even joking.
Well,
They are...
you have experience. Oh my, that's
Yeah, they're currently getting
unfortunate.
kind of... They're getting shanked a bit because of this.
Yeah.
But these
You have
guys...
experience in both of these games,
I do indeed.
so you might be able to give us a bit of an insight as to why you think this.
Okay, you want my genuine insight onto why? I've
Yep.
been racking my brains about this since I heard about it 2 days back. Pretty much the only reasons I can see as to why is because 1, they're both based around selling drugs. 2, I don't think they're going to get away with comparing it to the sequel, Drug Dealer Simulator 2, only the first one because that's based in a town as well. But there are so much more limitations in the first Drug Dealer Simulator game, and even in the sequel, in comparison to Schedule 1. You're limited on what drugs you can make. I can't believe I can actually talk about this just so, flippantly. That this doesn't sound right in conversation. But there's a limitation on what drugs you can make. There's limitations on what you can do with the properties. You can't drive, from what I know, in the first game, but you can in the sequel. The characters, yeah, there's some good ones, I suppose. It's really hit and miss. The games are very buggy, even though they're complete games, which baffles me. Neither one really holds your hand. You have to learn everything by yourself. The Schedule 1,
Schedule one definitely helps you.
yeah,
It's meant to basically learn how to do things, and then sort of like leaves you to make money and the relationship with the characters to unlock like the dealers and stuff.
well, the other thing is, Schedule 1 kind of simplifies, but also adds more advanced systems to itself. By that, what I mean is, in Drug Deal Simulator, you don't just grow weed, for example. You grow
Yeah.
it, then you've got to dry it. Once you dry it, you then got to bag it. Schedule
You
1,
can dry it in Schedule 1.
exactly, but it is not needed. It's an
No,
extra step. Same with
well, it
mixing.
would be needed later in the game
Yeah,
because, as you and I discovered when playing, the first two areas that you're in, they have either like very low standards or low standards. But
yeah,
then the third area, they have just normal standards. Typically, you would get normal standard stuff from just harvesting regularly once you have like decent pots. But I would say the next place you unlock after that, you're going to need the dry stuff to get higher quality so that
yeah,
they accept it.
yeah, definitely. The other part to it is because, in the early game, especially when you're learning, they're pretty easy on that. Drug Deal
Yeah.
Simulator, it's the same all the way through. Once you've made it once, you've made it 100 times. Yeah, you can get some better equipment, which will do things faster, or do things more accurately, and make less mistakes. That's about it. But it runs very similar. The way Schedule 1 does it, I much prefer, because it starts off simple. You grow it, you bag it. That's the beginning. Something that game doesn't have, that I am very intrigued to see if Schedule 1 can do this with more of its drugs in the future, the mixing mechanic being a major system. From what I know about Drug Dealer Simulator, it doesn't have that system whatsoever. You can't make strains, you just have that drug, that's it, you are now selling that drug. That is the other issue that people are pointing out, and rightly so. Drug Dealer Simulator 2 is, well, the map's quite boring. It's massive. It's absolutely humongous, and in my opinion, it's a lot better than the first game. But it's still quite buggy, even after being a full release. And on top of that, it's quite an empty map, to be brutally honest. I enjoy it, but it's because when I'm bored, it's something to do. And I'm very much under that question now of, does it hold up compared? Not particularly, no. No, it doesn't.
You know me, I love having more map because it means there's more game or just more stuff to do or more stuff to see even when you're traveling the map. But if it's empty, it's gonna do more harm than good.
It does
to your game.
feel sometimes that it is empty.
Yeah.
Other times it feels great, but for the most part, I've felt it's more empty than anything else. So, Let's cover this a little. Just as Schedule 1 has started blowing up on Steam, it has become subject of a copyright investigation by another indie developer. The only thing that has made me sad about this, to be brutally honest, is that Drug Deal Simulator is an indie developer. Do not take the same steps as a company like Nintendo to Palworld when you're both indie devs.
Yeah, like the guy, the devs of Drug Dealer Sim, unless it is like a blatant ripoff, you have every right to go after it, because at the end of the day, that's your hard work that you put in, especially as an indie dev, being either on your own or with just a couple other people. You put hard work into that to make something successful, and someone's going and ripping it off. You have every right.
Yeah.
From what you've explained to me of Drug Dealer Sim, now obviously I've not played it, I don't know anything about it. Some bits sound similar, but they're both drug dealing games.
Yeah.
They're gonna have similarities, but it does, to me, off the bits you said to me. Now obviously there's more to look into, more in depth arguments being made. From the little bits you told me, it doesn't sound that reasonable.
No, especially like as I've read further down here, I'm gonna. You know what? Am I right to continue reading for a little?
Yeah, I think we need to hear a little bit more.
Yeah, when I get to
before
the
we can
point,
sort of.
I'll tell you and I'll make the point then.
Yeah, go for
So,
it.
the Co-op Crime Simulator hit early access on March. On March 25th, 2025, and quickly became a hit among PC gamers. But now it looks like it might face some roadblocks in the future. Schedule 1's similarities to another older drug dealing management game may be a little more than mere coincidence, according to a recent report. TVGS' first effort to became something of an instant classic when it debuted on Steam. It took just over 2 days for Schedule 1 to surpass 130,000 concurrent players, and achieve an overwhelmingly positive rating. However, its skyrocketing popularity has caught the attention of more than just PC gamers looking for their next indie adventure. Of course it has. It's called the fucking biggest drug dealing game on Steam, which is pretty much their only competitor. According to a statement reported to by the Polish press agency, Movie Games SA, the studio behind Drug Dealer Simulator series, has finished a legal analysis concluding that Schedule 1 may have violated Drug Dealer Simulator's intellectual property rights. Some fans call Drug Dealer Simulator 2 one of the best criminal management games available today, and if this report is accurate, it seems that TVGS may have thought so too. Now, I'm just going to quickly, before I go to the next point, just bring up that once again, the reviews on this game were never many, and it released.
Yeah, I was just looking
a
at that
while
myself.
ago.
So the second game is almost a year old, and the
Yeah.
first game is 2020.
Like,
And
even
whilst
if
for an
you
indie game they would have
looked-
done half decently, they didn't have that much going off the reviews.
No.
And if you take a look at Schedule 1, it is about 2 weeks old now.
Yeah.
And it's got 64,000 reviews now,
Yeah, exactly. It's
with
pretty
over
much
400,000 concurrent players.
I'll be honest, mate, it's pretty much that they're just quite upset that it's not paid off for them. Now, I'm going to be playing this game probably over today, maybe the next couple of days, because I want to get a bit more of a understanding. I've put in 4.6 hours so far, so I could do with putting a couple extra hours in just to sort of get to grips with it.
Yeah.
I'll see. As I said, if I'm going to be playing it solo, it's going to be bloody, rough, but we'll see. According to a statement report, not that, here it is. According to Movie Games SA's investigation, Schedule 1 used elements from the Drug Deal Simulator series, plot, mechanics, and UI enough to warrant further action, which is interesting. Plot, mechanics, and UI.
We would have to see. Like you played the game. If I would have to play the game myself to try and compare it.
Okay. I can run you through the plot of the first game, and then I'll run you through the plot quickly of the second game.
To compare it first, the plot of Schedule 1 is what? Uncle rings you, tells you
Uncle
You
gets
need to make some
arrested.
drugs.
You need to remember the prologue. Uncle got arrested, and we escaped. And then we set up in a new town. We had the cartel going against us.
Which we have seen absolutely nothing of, by the way. All that happens is your RV gets blown up at the start, and that's it.
Exactly. So, now that we've been over Schedule 1, Drug Deal Simulator 1. What happens? You start in your apartment, you get a call basically telling you to meet up with your dealer, and off you go. That's the story. Drug Dealer Simulator 2. You arrive on a boat, you get told to collect some stuff, and eventually you end up I've just lost my train of thought, god damn it.
Where do you end up, Rory? What do the numbers mean?
I'm not called Mason. You basically end up on an island. You've got to then meet up with your supplier once again. You get sort of the lay of the land, then you meet a contact, and from there you start to build up your own supply, working with a cartel team, so on and so forth.
Working with?
Yes, you basically create / combine your own.
Right.
You don't hire many people.
It's a drug dealing game.
Yeah.
You're gonna meet up with suppliers. You're gonna have dealers. Yes. You're gonna have contacts.
Yes. Except
if you're going into this kind of game, that is gonna be base mechanics.
Yeah.
That's like saying Call of Duty and Titanfall copied each other.
Yeah.
Because they're both first-person shooters.
But my problem is they're trying to claim that their games had plot.
Even if they did, that's still different. They're still different. The first game, all you're doing is meeting up with a dealer and supplying people with stuff. Second game, you're working with the cartel. Going off of Schedule 1, you're actually going to be against the cartel, seeing as they literally blew up your RV.
Yep.
So I don't think there's really anything intertwined there. Mechanics, again, it's going to be basic mechanic of that style of game. You're going to make drugs and sell them. From what you've said, yep. Schedule 1 had strains and mixes, which drug dealing sims don't have.
I'm pretty certain it doesn't have. And the UI I would argue against as well, because the phone system in Schedule 1 works a lot better than it does in Drug Dealer Simulator 1 or 2, because both of those use old Nokia-style phones and use most of it on a UI that's based on the side of your screen, rather than anything else. One thing I would say that it does kind of do that's, I guess you could say, similar, and I will literally use the video here as an example for this. So I'm just going to skip ahead a little. Here we go. So this is the drug system. It is simple as hell. You drag it in, and then you press to package, pack and take, off it goes. Give people by numbers, then they just disappear. They don't have people with the actual systems. This round the side, by the way, is their entire UI. It's not very good, in my opinion.
I don't know.
Then you got combat.
From what we've seen and what we know, it doesn't really seem like there's much argument. They're two games under the same sort of idea and the same concept, which there is many cases of. And looking straight out from what we know, it doesn't seem like there's really much argument here. So we'd have to sort of hear more about what they're trying to say and what they're trying to claim as copyright.
No, I'm with you on that. And you can get better growths.
Yeah, that we're looking at now, that looks like very similar to Schedule 1. So you could kind of say from that.
You could.
The lights and all for growing and the stuff that hangs up the lights, that is like kind of 1-to-1, to be honest.
Yeah, that's kind of.
But that's kind of like how do you change? Yeah, how do you change that?
Yeah.
But the plants themselves, they maybe could have changed the look of in Schedule 1, because that is also again like almost a 1-to-1. But again, it's the same thing. It's kind of how it would look.
Yeah. This is the phone system, by the way.
There's so much shit on your screen, by the way.
Oh yeah, it's an absolute mess. I don't like it. But this is the system. Schedule now, and you can choose a time and a clock, as you just saw very briefly before they took it off your screen. Lots to do with soldiers, because there's militia, washing stuff, getting people to do things, jobs, thrive, all that sort of stuff. But in my opinion, it's relatively in depth, but not enough in comparison. And also the style.
I have to admit, mechanics wise, they're kind of very similar.
The thing is,
But
once again, you're basing your mechanics on real life.
yeah,
That's like
I can
saying
understand where they're coming from in trying to claim copyright, but I don't know if it's going to be strong enough. But
no.
there are quite a few things that are very similar. So like the placement mode and the look of like shelving and stuff like that is all very similar looking. I have to give them that.
So I can respond to both of those with relative ease, which is one, the placement mode is usually like that for items being placed in pretty much any game.
Yeah.
And regarding the decorative, that sort of style has been used in real life, not just real life, but also other games for over many years.
It's
Honestly,
gonna be a bit of a strange case for us to sort of
yeah,
watch over.
definitely. It's gonna be one of those I'm gonna pay attention to in the background, but that's about it.
Yeah, I mean we need to know like what their actual arguments are.
Yeah, 100%. In response to this initial investigation, Movie Games SA plans to conduct a closer examination, including referring to legal sources familiar with Australian law, as TVGS is an Australian based studio. Whether this will lead to any formal charges is uncertain for now. In the meantime, Schedule 1 is continuing to release new updates and enjoying an impressive level of success according to the investigation. The game has surpassed The Witcher 3's peak player count and sold close to 3 million copies as of April 3rd, which is
What?
mental. Yeah, there you go. There's some details.
Schedule 1 it
Yeah,
sold that, or
yeah, Schedule 1.
okay, so those numbers I gave last week, just add a zero onto that. So I believe it was the minimum number was by 4.5 mil. So that now means the minimum number is now 45 mil.
How do you feel about that?
I have no words.
Yeah, that sounds fair. Copyright cases in gaming can be complicated, while there are many examples of studios successfully defending their IP, such as the Pokemon Company's recent Pocket Monster remake court victory. It's not always clear if something is violating copyright law or simply paying homage. Some cases are also just a matter of parallel thinking, as some developers are bound to have similar ideas given how many people there are making video games today. Where the Schedule 1 versus drug deal simulator situation falls is uncertain for now, but things are apparently suspicious enough for Movie Games SA to look into it. I don't believe it's the fact that it's suspicious, I believe it's the fact that they're jealous. Because they have had much more success than they ever imagined they would. And that's why they'll have stayed quiet at first. But then it built up, and now they'll be kicking off. Sadly, more
Oh,
common than not.
there's a Nexus mods page for Schedule 1.
That doesn't shock me.
What the hell is that? Okay, there is a Twitch integration mod.
A Twitch integration mod. Does that by any
They
chance do something to do with the police?
Hang on. Chat Revenge enables Twitch chat integration. It gives the chat room the ability to influence the game mechanics, claim and control NPC, use visual effects. Using bits, streamers can play Schedule 1 live, while the chat can interact with the game, either helping or sabotaging while still financially supporting the streamer. The effects include giving/taking money, give better slot odds, changing NPC names to chatter names, request substances, accept or refuse offers given to the chatter's NPC, and the list grows bigger.
Have a look.
Visual effects, blurring, turning off, rotating, pixelating, lagging the game/monitor. Control effects, temporary block keyboard, temporary block mouse, pressing a keyboard key, inverting keyboard keys. What? In-game effects, claiming an NPC, accepting or refusing trade offer to claimed NPC. Unlock all characters, double pocket money, half pocket money, 50-50 chance of double or half money. Requesting substances to buy, send a phone message in game, 3 free slot spins, better slot odds, call the cops, make NPCs more suspicious towards you, big game crash.
Sounds like a lot.
Yeah. Oh, and then there's just going to be a lot of different stuff. So, like, for example, quality bonus plus 5% per tier of quality. Instant mixing, that would be wonderful because the mixing is a bit of a joke with how much work it is to mix.
Yeah, can be a bit.
Crosshair for some reason. Recipe list menu, that's pretty good.
Dan after hours.
Reshade preset because people are fucking psychopaths when it comes to quality.
Dan after hours. obviously you can tell quite clearly some people don't know about the warehouse.
Pretty much.
No
The only
curfew.
thing you would get out of him is storage, literally.
Yeah.
Storage, clippers, and watering cans.
Exactly. No curfew. That just sounds boring.
Yeah, that's kind of taking away the main mechanic, and you just beat the shit out of all the cops anyway.
Yeah,
Mini
that's
map,
what you
that
do.
would be good. Mini map,
No, don't
console
say that.
unlocker, mod manager.
Say that, Will.
Yeah.
You'll just get bloody what do you call them back? Drug deal simulators developers.
That's a mod. So, but yeah, already people grinding out the mods.
Oh, aren't they just? It's fantastic to see, honestly. So, the Nintendo Switch 2, Will.
Yes, I have a little bit of interest in this, but not like fully intrigued. You know,
Well,
more just curiosity.
we have price and we have technical specs. So I'm going to go
Alright.
quickly through the basics of the tech specs, and from there we can go on to the price point that we're looking at.
Yeah,
So
we could do with like a comparison to the first one to see the improvements, because I feel like we're not really going to get a full understanding of what they're telling us without like comparing it.
Do you want the OLED or the just basic Nintendo Switch?
Probably the basic, because they'll not have an OLED model straight away, will they?
I reckon this might be OLED from the get-go.
I suppose it's possible.
We'll see though. If it is, we'll just swap it. So 4 inches to 4.5 by 9.5 inches long by 10.7. Okay, so basically they're like
A little bit bigger.
Yeah, it's a little bigger. Joy-Con 2 controllers attached. Joy-Con controls, yep. And they're pretty much the exact same, except the buttons are a bit bigger on the controllers. Weight, approximately 0.88 pounds, or 1.18 pounds with Joy-Con 2s, so it's a bit heavier than the prior.
I doubt you'll feel it, to be honest.
No. Screen, oh no, it is an LCD. Okay. So
wait, even the normal one says OLED screen. How's that work?
Oh, that's because it's gone to an OLED. Give me a second. Here we go. So yeah, still longer. Actually, a fair bit longer. Fair enough. Still heavier. Screen. Here we go. So the resolution is definitely improved.
Definitely.
It's also
720 to 1080.
Yeah, 1920 by 1080 pixels from 1280 by 720.
You gotta think though, like for the resolution wise, when you're on a screen that small, even 720 looks really good.
Yeah. 7.9 inch wide color gamma LCD screen. Fair enough. That was prior a 6.2 inch screen, so definitely an improved size. HDR10 support and VRR up to 120 Hz refresh, which is not too bad.
Interesting.
GPU/CPU is a custom processor made by Nvidia, and prior it was a Nvidia custom Tegra processor. There's very little details about this right now. Nvidia has come out and said some bits, and what Nvidia have said is pretty interesting. So I'd definitely have a look at that if you're intrigued by it. Storage. 256 gigabyte UFS. Portion of the storage is reserved for system use. That's always normal. 32 gigabytes was the prior of internal storage, and they basically had the micro SD cards for up to 2 terabyte improvement. It'll be the same for this.
You could download much onto that internal storage of the old one.
No, exactly. So then we've got our wireless and Bluetooth. So things have improved since the original released, obviously. Wi-Fi 6 is now out, which is a major thing. Bluetooth, it still utilizes good. And in TV mode, Nintendo Switch 2 can be connected using the wired LAN port on the back of the dock, also known as an Ethernet port.
Yes.
Which apparently this had very similar, but had Bluetooth 4.1 and it didn't support Wi-Fi 6 or Wi-Fi 5, I don't think. So, video output. This will be interesting, because apparently the original only supported a 1080p via HDMI and up to 720p via built-in screen in tabletop mode and handheld.
Would you need an adapter for the HDMI, surely, yeah?
No, it was in the back of the dock.
There's a HDMI port on the Nintendo.
On the docks, yeah. You know, the docking
On the
station.
dock, right,
Yeah.
right. I
Yeah,
forgot
you
they
gotta
have docks. Yeah,
you gotta consider
I
that part, right?
completely forgot that was a thing.
So, output mode via HDMI connector in TV mode, maximum 3840 by 2160 4K resolution at 60 FPS TV mode. Supports 120 FPS when at 1920 by 1080 or 2560 by 1440 resolutions are selected. Supports
Why would you bother with
HDR10
4K then?
because that's only, what, 2K?
That's still gonna look hella good, man.
Oh, 100% it is.
And 120 FPS versus 60, I'd take the 120.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. Maximum 1920 by 1080 resolution in tabletop and handheld mode following screen resolution. That's a massive improvement.
Yeah.
4K or 2K or even 1K, but you'll still get 120 FPS on them. So fair play. Really well done there. Audio output. Supports linear PCM 5.1. Output via HDMI connector in TV mode. Surround sound effects can be applied when output into headphones or built-in speaker. Surround sound effect when outputting to the built-in speaker requires a system update. That's fine. And whereas this, it was just 5.1 inch, 5.1 channel linear PCM output and output via HDMI connector TV mode. So they've added actually some more options there, which is nice. Speaker stereo again, but independent enclosure.
They're trying to make it sound fancy.
Yeah, clearer sound quality is basically what they're trying to claim with this one. Microphone built in, and noise cancellation, echo cancellation, and auto gain control provide more comfortable voice chat experience. The features that we all live for nowadays. And this doesn't. Sorry, that's what that had.
It had a jack. Wonderful.
Yeah, it was a mic jack, and that were about it. So it didn't have an inbuilt mic before. Buttons, yeah, we all know about buttons. How amazing buttons. Yeah, right, here we are. USB, so these are 2 USB-C ports. That's all that's really going to be on that. Whereas this had 1 USB-C port prior. Audio jack, 3.5mm 4 contact stereo port. Normal. Game card slot. Both Nintendo Switch 2 and Nintendo Switch game cards can be inserted. So both
compatibility
both
is huge.
Yeah,
because that is
100%.
one of the biggest issues that we saw in consoles. Is a lot of games being left behind.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. Micro card SD slot, that all seems to be fine. Fair play. Sensors. Accelerometer, gyroscope, and mouse sensor located in Joy-Con 2 controllers. Brightness sensor located in console. So they've got a sensor to be able to control it with better ease with the Joy-Con controls. That's good to hear. Operating environment, 41 to 95 degrees Fahrenheit and 20 to 80% humidity. Pretty much the same across the board. Lithium-ion battery. So it's got a bigger battery. But the battery life is 2 to 6.5 hours now.
Quite short, to be honest.
Yeah, in comparison to prior, where it was 4.5 to 9 hours.
And then so somehow you can make it last only 2 hours, but it'll take 3 hours to recharge. That's a little insane. So
100%.
Batteries are going to die real fast in this Nintendo because people are going to be playing it on charge the whole time.
Now, we've also
that's not great.
No, not particularly. The battery is definitely not the best. So now we've also got the dock as well. That'll probably be a bit bigger because obviously new thing. Weight's a little more as expected. So what ports we got? 2 USB ports, 2.0 on the either side, system connector, AC adapter port, HDMI, and a Ethernet port.
So, one less port, but it's got the LAN port added as well. Because the older Ethernet one had 2 on the side and 1 on the back.
I will scream Ethernet at you in a minute.
Ethernet.
I don't give a fuck. Just don't call it a LAN port in my fucking presence.
I just was reading what was on the page.
I don't care. How dare you blaspheme to me, boy?
You know I would always call it an Ethernet. Just reading what's on the page, man. You call it a LAN port multiple times already. Yeah, go scrub your tongue with bleach.
I will. So, the left controller is 2.3 ounces. The right controller is 2.4 ounces.
That is.
How do they? You know what? I don't care. I don't care.
There must just be like the sensors in them must be it must vary slightly,
Yeah.
surely.
So still using Bluetooth 3.0 and everything. That's all fine. The only difference is they've got a mouse. Oh wait, that were it. In the right controller, it had an IR motion camera.
That would have been the difference then in the weight.
That was for the old one, but for
not
this
understanding, not understanding that.
No, but I can see that they've got rid of the IR motion camera by adding a mouse sensor and gyroscope and accelerator to it. So that's actually a really good idea. HD Rumble 2, so they've increased their vibration system. That's funny as fuck. Battery life, approximately 20 hours. So your Joy-Cons will last 20 hours.
Nice.
And they'll take about 3 hours 30 to fully charge. Oh.
So the controllers will last 10 times the length of the fucking console itself.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see a lot of battery issues come up with that new Nintendo.
So that's the specs comparison, and I do think definitely is an improvement over the prior. That I think is clear to say. But battery-wise, it definitely needs to...
Battery's going to be a big issue. Like, you're going to see batteries, like, dying very quickly because people are going to be playing them on charge all the time. And that's going to cause, obviously, the battery to just die quicker.
Yeah. So...
You know what it's like. It's the same shit with your phone. If you use it while on charge or you have to charge a lot or anything, it starts to break and your battery runs out real fast.
Always make sure that you use your phone until it dies. Then put it on charge it to full, then take it back off.
No. You can't tell me to do. You're not my real dad.
I should hope not. Be a little bit awkward.
There'd be some questions to be asking as I'm older.
Oh, wouldn't there? Wouldn't there be? So the price for the Nintendo Switch 2 by default is £395.99. And with Mario Kart World, which surprisingly is an open world Mario Kart, which sounds insane, will cost £429.99. Now, I'm not too fond of these prices for games.
Oh my god. Mario Kart for 67.
That's digitally. They've marked it up physically.
That is insane.
Yeah.
Oh my god, is that a GameCube controller?
It is. You can buy them. Hell? You could buy them for the original Nintendo Switch as well. It was basically just a nice way if you were playing like Super Smash Bros. Or something.
That's crazy. I can't believe I had that sitting there.
But yeah, that's the price. I'm not too impressed by the game prices, but overall, for the console...
And that's what, 3 games we're seeing the price of?
That's 2.
2 games?
2 games. Yeah. For the console, though, I think it's pretty reasonable. Overall, for what they're asking for. I can understand that, honestly. The pre-orders officially open from...
2 days from now.
Yeah, so the day after this episode release. But yeah, I think it's quite fascinating, and it should be interesting to see how things go. So, moving on. Everything from here could be a bit of a gloom and doom, but we'll see. Swen Vink, we'll go with that. Says fan mods shouldn't be treated like commercial ventures that infringe on your property. Just hours before Wizard of the Coast retracts its Baldur's Gate 3 Stardew mod takedown. Karlak would hate all this. Earlier this month, we covered the release of Baldur's Village, a Stardew Valley mod adding more than 20 characters from Baldur's Gate 3 that earned Larian CEO Swen Vik's stamp of approval. This morning, we reported how Wizards of the Coast seemingly decided that the best way to capitalise off that brand momentum was to scour the mod from the internet. In a statement to PC Gamer, Wizard of the Coast now says that the takedown was a mistake. The Baldur's Village DMCA takedown was issued mistakenly. We are sorry about that. The Wizards of the Coast spokesperson wrote, "We are in the process of fixing that now so that fans and the Stardew Valley community can continue to enjoy this great mod." Jesus, they did not write well.
How does this happen? I'm guessing Vink is the CEO of Baldur's Gate.
Yeah.
Devs or whatever. So they get the okay from literally the top guy, but then somehow I say it's in quotation marks, mistakenly
Well,
put
sorry,
through.
I'm incorrect. Sven Vic is the CEO of Larian, which is a subsidiary company of Wizard of the Coast. So Wizard of the Coast is kind of Larian's parent company.
Right.
So it's pretty much like the kid complimenting their pet and then the dad coming along and just throwing the pet out the window.
Jesus Christ, what the fuck is that?
I don't know. I couldn't think of anything. I'm on the spot here. Leave me be. It's one of them weeks. Don't question me. Don't question me. We're not legal.
Pet out of the window.
Yeah, why not?
Oh man.
We're not legal experts, but I believe in the business they call this whoopsie. A Wizard of the Coast whoopsie. Yeah, I know, right?
What was the last situation we had like this where something was mistakenly done?
Oh.
There was something massive that happened. There was one that would have been the last one that we would have talked about. There was something massive that happened with some massive company. They accidentally did something.
There's so many of these. It's like a monthly basis at this point.
Isn't it? So monthly basis of pets being thrown out windows, is there?
Exactly. Happy you understand. So Sven Vic actually posted onto Twitter in response to this, saying, "Free quality fan mods highlighting your characters in other game genres are proof your work resonates and a unique form of word of mouth. In my honest opinion, they shouldn't be treated like commercial ventures that infringe on your property. Protecting your IP can be tricky, but I do hope this gets settled. There are good ways of dealing with this." I think he makes a fair point.
To be honest, when we love singing about Nexus.
Yep.
How many mods have you seen where in one game they add stuff from another game?
Oh,
how many of those do you think go to a CEO of the game and ask permission to do the mod? Because I guarantee you it'd be less than 1%.
Yeah, it most likely is. I'd say
So
you're
why did these guys have a whole application ready to have this shit taken down?
Because it's Wizard of the Coast, and their stuff with D&D just seems to be backfiring with the industry at the moment. So,
oh no, this is going to get our already insanely popular game even more popularity.
Yeah. Whatever will we do with the extra money coming into our pockets?
Seriously though, like,
I don't question things anymore, mate. You know this. Ubisoft Leamington Spa has officially closed its studio doors following confirmation from Ubisoft in January that the studio would be shutting down. Now, if I am right, this might be that London studio. Yep, it was the studio based in England.
We read about this recently, didn't we?
We read about this a few months ago. I was actually very annoyed about it all. And it once again just proves, though, in my opinion, there's nothing more that we're going to read about this because, let's be honest, we've covered this
it already.
time. But what I do want to just add on to this, as this says, it was open for 23 years. It was a major part of Ubisoft. It actually handled, from the seams of things, most of their DJ Hero stuff and Guitar Hero things in early days. They were actually acquired by Activision originally, led development of that, and then got acquired by Ubisoft in 2017. And now they're permanently having to close their doors after working on massive titles like Tom Clancy to Far Cry, and recently Assassin's Creed Shadows. This is
now
Ubisoft...
I just have more questions.
As in?
They worked on Assassin's Creed Shadows. That seemed to do at least half decent, but they're closing.
Oh, yeah, that's simple. One, they were announced to be closing before this even, the game even did well. But the other part is, put plainly, Ubisoft are still cutting. They're still trying to make extra money. This was before the Tencent deal as well, when they knew they'd got more backing.
No, this isn't making extra money. This is spending less money. There's a very big difference.
Exactly.
You don't fire people and suddenly have millions more. It just means you're not having to spend money on those people that you're meant to be paying.
This is, if you remember, 3 weeks ago, this is exactly what they said they were going to do. They announced that basically they saved X amount of money from all the cuts that they've made, and then decided, oh, we've actually saved more than what we expected, so we're going to do even more next year. That's the Ubisoft mentality as of current, which I'll be honest is absolutely disgraceful.
So, do you reckon that Assassin's Creed Shadows? I'm not going to say the last good game we see from them. I'm going to say the last decent game, like not good, not bad game that we see,
Possibly.
because they're just going to end up with no teams left.
Honestly, possibly. It is completely possible.
And let's be honest, like when we discuss Assassin's Creed Shadows, it looks beautiful. They've really worked on a lot of details, but the gameplay itself was, yeah, it left more to be desired, basically.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
it could have been better, but it also wasn't terrible. So if that's the standard we're getting from one of their biggest titles,
yeah,
and they're still firing teams,
no, exactly that.
even with the deal that they've done with Tencent, it's definitely leaving more questions about what their future's looking like.
Yeah, I genuinely can't see things going so well, but I suppose we'll see how the slop trade becomes when they start releasing games under Tencent and Ubisoft's joint adventure. But anyways,
Well, I can't wait to see the microtransaction hells that they release in the future.
oh, I know. Embracer Group's Eidos-Montreal studio confirms more layoffs, this time affecting up to 75 people. We don't have
This
the
upsets me.
capacity to entirely reallocate them.
This upsets me.
How many have they cut, though, in total now? So, let's see. They don't have the capacity to entirely reallocate them to our other ongoing projects and the services. News of the layoffs, which follows 97 job cuts at their studio last year, was confirmed in a statement on social media. Today, we informed our studio staff that we're going to have to let go of up to 75 valuable members. As one of our mandates is coming to an end, this is not a reflection of their dedication or skills, but unfortunately, we do not have the capacity to entirely reallocate them to our current ongoing projects and services. These very talented, highly experienced experts are going to enter the employment market, and we are working with to support them through this transition. Eidos-Montreal stays committed to deliver its other projects currently in development. That
That's
sounds like
great and all.
such a shit statement.
Yeah, that's great and all that they're trying to make themselves look good, saying they're gonna do their best to support them in transition. But when you look at it in the wider picture, where there's how many people who are in the exact same situation, all now
Yep,
in the employment market trying to get jobs that they've got to compete with,
exactly.
that's not going to be an easy task.
Plus, on top of that, like, they made,
Guardians of the Galaxy was their last
yeah,
release. I read down a little bit. 2021
like,
though.
that doesn't even matter. This game did amazingly well. I remember
Yeah.
playing through this thing. I fell in love with it. It was phenomenal. Don't get me wrong, you can only really play through it like a time or two. But 19.7 hours it took me for like completion to the degree I was happy with. And I
being a bit
thoroughly enjoyed it.
older, being a bit older, 2013, 2016, they also made both the previous two Deus Ex games, which I'm still playing.
Yeah. No, exactly. You're still sat on that now. But I'd have thought, especially considering this was a Marvel
Yeah.
thing, you'd expect that they'd have got some damn good money out of that. But they
Then
seem to be
again,
closing.
when did Endgame release? Part 2 of it. 2019.
Jesus.
That was the end of the Marvel hype.
Yeah, it really was.
They've not crashed, but they've went
They
very
definitely
far
haven't
down from
fucking
what they
risen.
used to be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they definitely haven't
So
stabilized or
what was it?
fucking risen, have they?
2021 that they released Guardians of the Galaxy game.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's 2 years after the hype died on Marvel, and the shows being the main stuff, they've all definitely went way down in comparison to like how Marvel used to perform when they were releasing the main films.
I can get some sale numbers roughly.
Over 8 million, but like when you think of a Marvel title and all you see is 8 million,
So it's had over 8 million players in its first year.
which isn't much
So
when you think of Marvel, mate.
no, but for the price, we're talking £50, 49 in our price. Obviously, you're not going to get exact, so let's call it 45. And how many did I say? 8 million?
400 mil, basically.
400 mil. Well, 360.
If you're doing the 50.
Yeah, if you're doing the 50, it's that. And then you've got to take off obviously the 30%, all that sort of shit. You got to pay out so much to
To only
Marvel
be
because
3 years. Going to be 3 years later, and it's down to what, £7?
yeah. Actually, I think it's on sale at the moment.
Yeah,
Special
like 80,
promotions is 17.
85% off though. That's a lot.
Oh yeah, but then you got to look at other games that are currently, a lot worse. To be fair, I think Eidos-Montreal has currently got like an overall fucking sale on.
Well, I mean, they've just fired more people.
I've never said that I've like got a type of game that I enjoy, but
Yeah, seems like they really tailored to your. Wait, there's what? Excuse me, one moment. I've just seen something that I did not know
is it
existed.
this?
Let me see, because I'm not looking. No.
I'm gonna say a thing in existence. Well, what have you seen that you didn't know?
VR experience.
Oh yeah, I knew about that.
I'm worried it's just going to
So
be a bit of a walk through
pretty
the
much,
areas.
pretty much.
That's what it looks like. It being called an experience as well. That it's free to play. You know, I might do it just to do
Yeah,
it.
go for it. Anyways, we'll move on. London is now the third biggest hub for the games industry workers worldwide. Well, I suppose the one bonus is typically in the UK you have at least decent workers' rights, unlike America, which I've heard is apparently god awful for it.
Oh, don't start with that, mate. That's too much politics for this channel.
Yeah, too true. London has become the third largest hub for game makers, yep. Analysis by Unscrambled and BOP for Games London found that UK capital is host to more than 13,700 total games professionals across mobile, PC, console, immersive entertainment, and AI for games. Los Angeles and San Francisco remain ahead at 22,600 and 14,100 industry professionals, respectively, rising up the ranks.
I will be back in 1 second. Sorry.
Okay. Findings suggested that London has shot up the leaderboard into third place this past year, with nearly half of all UK research and development roles based in the city, making it the largest cluster for games industry jobs in the UK. London has also become Europe's biggest games hub in the last 5 years. Furthermore, findings suggested that an additional 9,000 people in London work in the associated sectors to games or have expanded their services to include them. These figures were based on LinkedIn analysis, with the platform containing over 1 billion accounts where more users worldwide have already detailed their careers and more traditional workforce statistics. I think it's definitely interesting. I mean, the mayor here has announced further funding into Games London last week. It's okay. Extending investments by another 4 years. This decision marked a significant proportion of a £10 million pound investment into London's creative industries, expected to add £2.5 billion into the economy, which is absolutely insane. So yeah, the UK is definitely going to start bringing in some money from the games industry, which is good to see. There's not really much you can discuss about that, but
when saying very large numbers, it feels wrong to say anything other than dollars, doesn't it?
That's because usually those places are, the major place where them companies are usually located.
Just in general though, because
No, not really.
typically because anyone I play with as well, we're all either sterling or euro. So anytime anything gets mentioned, it's sterling or euro.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, $1 million sounds fine. You try to say £1 million or €1 million, it just feels weird.
£1 million.
No.
Fuck you. I win.
No. I don't know why it's that way. It weirds me out.
Calm down.
I don't have any.
Well, this person.
I only do biscuits. Well, I'm gonna go beat them up and take it.
Sounds fair. So, the collab. I've just realised as well, this is a new UK-based independent games publisher. So, we're covering some good UK news today, which is interesting. Co-founder by...
It's just normally where there's nothing but bad news.
Yeah. So we started out with some bad news about the UK Ubisoft, and then we've moved on to good news about the UK. How peculiar.
We can cheese it a little bit and say the UK Ubisoft was actually older news.
Yeah, that's fair. Co-founded by Darren Newnham, former United Label CEO, Mark Faulkner, former Jagex Director of Product, and John Lewis, former Codemasters Senior Art Director. The publisher aims to support indie developers in a collaborative process. The collab has announced 3 titles at launch, including Team. I can't say that.
Emperor Knights? I
Yeah,
don't know.
exactly. Story-based sandbox campfire shotgun. Campfire? Okay. Shotgun Anacondas top-down cyberpunk shooter, Deadwire, and
Why does it sound like
Bjornson's strategy game Counterclash. I can't say these names. Why do they keep bringing them up?
yeah, this was really strange worded as well.
Yeah, I don't like it.
It almost felt like you said 4 titles there, and I was a little confused.
Yes, Anyway, the the publisher has more titles on its slate to come this year, and in 2026, it also plans to introduce sessions led by developers, with the first of these planned for late 2025. It has also partnered with games industry mental health charity Safe in Our World as part of its commitment to ethics, teamwork, and transparency as a publisher. We stand for cooperation and collaboration in an industry that desperately needs it, said CEO Darren Newnham. Correct. Recent trends such as mass redundancies driven by greedification have underscored the need for paradigm shift.
We're gonna like this guy, Roy.
I think so, yeah.
You especially.
Yeah.
Other than the wording of things, but that's not them. That's just the
that's the
article
author.
writer.
Yeah. Publishers often prioritize shareholder value over the needs of gamers, leading to a cycle of
always hitting everything.
He is leading to a cycle of unfinished games released by I'm right. Released at inflated prices, while developers have faced challenges including cancellations, unpaid work, and even loss of intellectual property. Newnham continued, "Our goal is to make every developer who joins the collab an integral part of our collective, fostering a supportive environment that promotes long-term relationships and rewarding returns." Damn. Okay. This guy's gonna go on my. I don't do this very often. See if I can find him.
That guy just nailed every point that we have been complaining about over the last how many months?
Yep, this is him. Cool. Follow. And collab games, follow them too.
You know, as well, someone has finally realized that over the last few years, all these big names and big titles have been, for the most part, especially one year in particular, that you got banned from certain things, have been releasing pure crap. Simply put, pure crap. And they've realized that the indie devs have been releasing just insane titles, making the most enjoyable, fun to play games from just being 1 to 4 people, basically.
The other issue I've found with it as well, and I'm completely in agreement with him on, is it's not even the indie studios that are getting hit the hardest with like redundancies. It's primarily AAAs. And these people have put like their fucking heart and soul into a project just for it to kind of be gone, yeah, well, you don't own this project, you don't really deserve to be here anymore, bye.
Yeah, they've been working their asses off, making something as great as they can, just for someone to come over, grab the piece of paper, scrumble it into a ball, and throw it into the bin.
Exactly that. And honestly, it's good to see someone standing up for them.
Yeah, something needed to change, and I mean, hopefully these guys can do it, but we'll have to wait and see what they can accomplish.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be damn good if it could. But
for sure.
Other than that, I've covered everything I wanted to cover this week. How about you, Will? You got anything you'd like to add?
I've not got anything off the top of my head.
other than a constant enjoyment of selling drugs?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
My time in Schedule 1 has now consisted of running around with some ridiculous mixture of meth and attempting to sell it to people for around $1,200 per one. Succeeding around 50% of the time, and leaving multiple green cyclopses walking around, and then proceeding
Oh.
to go to the casino and gamble my night away until I leave with another 25 grand.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I'm not even shocked.
Yeah, no, decent money making.
Yeah, sounds about right for you.
Yeah.
Well, in that case, then, I will just say our usual.
Yes, I believe we're finished up here.
Yeah. So, thank you all for watching. If you have enjoyed, feel free to like, follow, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff, and feel free to join the Discord in the description below. Yeah, I remember now. I know, right? But no, it's been a crazy couple of weeks for us. Lots been going off lately, but we're starting to get back onto the mend of things. We're getting things back under it, and we're starting to find some really interesting things for the weeks again. Why does it always take
Yeah.
till this time in the year? Dreadful. But
It's
no.
just slow periods, I suppose.
Well, as always, thank you all for watching, and we will see you all in the next episode.
Thanks, guys. See you all next week.